Over to you, Jeff.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It looks like it's getting to that time of year where everybody's appeals are starting to really ramp up. Wishing you obviously all of the very best and success for that. We have made today's webinar slightly longer to cater for some more extra items and steps that we think will need the time today. And obviously there will be a recording of this available after. We'll post it within the next couple of days on the Trailhead group. And I think there'll be an email coming out as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to go into um, the agenda for today. We are just going to step back a little bit and talk about the preparation for running a end of year appeal, an event, and why you'd want to do that. We're then going to look at, how do we implement our plan for that? What's the, example of setting that up within Salesforce? Then we'll actually look at running a campaign. For this one here, we've got two different examples that we're going to go through today. So one would be a direct mail or email campaign. And then, of course, with every campaign, you should be measuring its success and, did it meet what you were hoping to? And then, of course, we'll have a live question and answer section. So the very first one is the preparing for an appeal or a campaign. Now, most people we have today will be non-profits on the call. And what we sort of doing here is just stepping back like a little bit and just sort of saying, well, it's not just, hey, it's just a good idea that we should be running a, end of year appeal or a tax appeal. But let's have a look at how that actually aligns with what we're trying to achieve as an organization. And that goes all the way back up to your mission. So why do you exist in the first place? What is your, vision? And then, of course, you have to take into account things like, do you have the funds to run it? And the funds are obviously going to depend on what sort of campaign you're going to do. Obviously, direct mails are much more expensive than doing an email. So if your budget is very tight, then maybe email, or even some of these concepts we're going through today.
I think we've lost sound.
SMS and things like that. Apologies
Yeah.
for that. Okay, so when you have a look at the vision and mission, why do you exist as an organization? What are you trying to achieve? For our example today, we are using World Aid as our demo charity nonprofit. And for that,
Sorry, Jeff, we lost your voice.
for that, our aim is to, rid the world of world hunger and hopefully have no child, starve. So we're on a bit of a mission to, make sure that we implement that. So for doing that, we've obviously come up with things like, a strategy, and we've obviously aligned things like, budgets and all of that. Strategies can also be, marketing strategies, fundraising strategies, and even down to the business unit strategy. So some of these things could be, hey, we need to open up a new ward in our cancer side of things. So that's obviously helps us know what we need to, want to achieve. Are we looking at growing our regular donor program? Is that something that we want to get out of this? Are we trying to just get like an influx of donations for the end of the year? Um, are we looking at perhaps growing a bequest program and things like that? So each of those will have obviously different types of strategies and plans for actually meeting that. And then what we'll do is actually start aligning those to, well, how are we going to market this? How are we going to fundraise for this? One of the things that you may find quite good, there's obviously a whole heap of books out there, but one that I quite like is one called The Fundraiser's Handbook, and that's by Pamela Sutton Legaud, and she's an Australian author, and so it's really tailored to some of the the local markets for most of the people on this call today. So for us, we're looking at our end of year appeal to have purpose. We want to raise awareness of, who is World Aid, what do we do? And, so people actually know of us compared to some of the other organisations out there that do this sort of thing. We're looking at, raising about world hunger and malnutrition in particular in Somalia in this particular case. To meet our objectives, what we decided or what we figured out is we actually really need to raise a total of 200K, and we're going to get that from, 300K, we're going to get that from 250K from existing donors and 50K from new donors, and we want to keep our costs to a maximum of $60,000 for running this appeal. Okay, so now we've got quite clear on what we're going to do. Now, how we're going to do this is we're actually going to run a 3-phase end of year appeal. The first one we're going to do is run our direct mail, and we're hoping to raise from that 125,000. We're then going to follow it up approximately 2 weeks later with so all those people that haven't responded to our direct mail, and some people we don't perhaps have accurate mail addresses for. We're going to follow up with email one, and then we're going to follow it up with a second email after that. Now, some of the things here is obviously if somebody donates in phase one, we don't want to target them again in phase two and things like that. So this is all using a lot of standards Salesforce in this particular setup here, and obviously with payments to us to capture this. So what I'm going to do here is just step back and have a look at how we would, so that's a total of 250,000 to be raised at the top. So how would we do that inside Salesforce? So what I would do is come back to standard Salesforce. I'm going to come into here and we're going to go to campaign, and I'll create a new campaign. This is an appeals type campaign. Just to save on my typing, I'm going to give it, this is a name, put that in there. You probably have types and things like that. We're going to publish it on the web, and I'll call it end of year 24 as my primary campaign. And then I can do things like, for this relates to payments to us, where I can actually insert graphics and things like that. For this one here, I'm going to just go to this folder here to grab my graphic and insert that into here. So this gives me my very top level campaign. What I'm going to do now is create a new campaign here. And this one here is, remember I was talking about the first phase. So this is going to be my direct mail, and that will be end of fiscal year that. I'm going to mark it as active. You can put start dates and end dates in here. So I'm going to run that in 1st of November, and we'll have that go to the end of November. I'm going to mark it as publish on the web, and this one I'm going to give it a campaign code. Now the campaign code is something that we use for payments to us with our batch entry. So you'll see this come back in later on. So I can use this as a very short way to tag my campaigns back to that. Now this will be a subsidiary. So I've got a parent campaign here of end of fiscal year 24 appeal. Okay, and again, I can, if I want to put some details there about my my graphics and have particular payment forms and things like that, I can do that as well. So I'm just going to go through and create one more campaign now. What I won't do is actually create, the second email one. So this was the second, so this is going to be my email one. Mark that as active, publish on web. Okay, and again, I can link that to a my parent campaign here. Cool. So if I click on those details, and what I'll do here is I'll just go back to my parent campaign. So you can see I've created a parent one, and then I've created two subsidiary ones. From here, this is again standard Salesforce. I can actually do a view of the campaign hierarchy. So I can see my parent one, and remember these two, I put that top one as my parent one as well. Okay, so that was one of the things that we have set up here. So that's the so we set up the parent one, and we set up phase one and phase two. I didn't actually add phase three, but I'm sure you can see how that would normally be done. With your campaign and what you're trying to get out of this campaign, that would go into some of your copyright for your emails and your receipts and your messaging and all that sort of stuff. You may do that internally, or you may use ChatGPT, something like that. But I'd advise obviously making it a bit more personal than that. What we need to do here really is we would be looking in payments to us is to setting up a receipt as well. Okay, so what I would do here is you come into our letters. I would have a look at an existing letter that you have on file here. Then what you'd do is you would clone it, and you'd call it end of year appeal, and then you put your Somalia and things like that if you want to make it a bit more specific. So there is a number of options here. There's quite a large number of articles in here. I know some people like to not have this is going to be for direct mail, so you probably do want to have the addresses indented so that you can put it in envelopes and things like that. What I would do here is obviously put some more personalized text in here, which I thought I had some receipt text that I could put in there. And so you don't really want to wait here for me to be typing, but this would be your receipt text in here. And you can see you can obviously mail merge and details, and obviously mail merge and how much is paid and things like this. So this forms the body of your receipt letter. So I go save. Now for your letters, you can put like a banner going across the top of the receipts as well. Now the way that you do that is you come to the related to the receipt, and if you want to make this one specific for your end of fiscal year appeal, you would upload that, and then again it's just going to be a graphic. Now they need to have the words letterhead in them if it's going to appear at the top of your receipt letter. So I'm just going to change that file name and then upload that. Cool. So with our receipts, and we've done a couple of previews on this, I would probably go and actually test this against a payment transaction and things like that, just to make sure that it's all right, and text and things like that. But what I've got here now is I've got a brand new receipt letter, but this would be something that would be typical of setting up an appeal for your end of year. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to the campaign. Now I'm looking at running a campaign against my my direct mail here. So what I'm going to do here is we have a field on here that is a receipt letter. So now I'm just going to link this campaign to that particular letter. Okay. So if somebody donates to this campaign, they're going to get that receipt with that text and that graphics on it. Okay. So what I've really done now is I've set up this campaign in hierarchy. If I get donations against that, I'll set against my direct mail campaign. But what happens with Salesforce is when you have nested campaigns, it actually rolls up to the top campaign as well. So I would see a total of 250 if I achieved all of this for all 3 campaigns against this campaign. Okay. So when you have a look at your campaigns, you'll notice that there's a number of standard fields that come with Salesforce. And you have things like your expected revenue. So for this one, my expected revenue was 125,000. So 125,000, and my expected cost is 60,000. And then of course I can actually enter actuals. Now these are important because remember, one of the things is you set up your aim for your campaign, and then the very final step of this when we run this campaign is seeing how successful each of these different waves were, and then how successful the overall end of year appeal was, no matter which of the different waves. Cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drill into our direct mail campaign, which is the first phase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a report on eligible contacts, and then I'm going to add those contacts to the campaign. So there's lots of different ways you can associate contacts that you want to target to a campaign, but this is running a report will be the most common one. There's things like list views, there's things like import files and things like that. The Salesforce Online Help and Trailblazer groups have an awful lot in that as well, but today I'm going to run a report on there. Then what I want to do is, because we're going to mail these out, I want to actually clean my address data, right? So that it doesn't bounce, so it gets through to my donor, and we're not spending all our time managing return to senders and things like that. Then we're going to extract a list of those people against that campaign, and we'll save that report as a Excel spreadsheet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mail merge, and from that mail merge, it's going to merge with my direct mail template, which will look. For some reason that's not coming up. Okay, which is going to, we'll see that in a few seconds. So that's going to mail merge my document. It's going to have barcode fonts and things like that. Then what we're expecting is a donor to either donate by clicking on a QR code and going directly to our online donation form, or they're going to send it back to us, and what I'm going to show you is how we would record that information coming back to us in a nice, quick and simple method. Cool. And then after that, we want to actually enter those details into Salesforce, and I'll show you that. So first of all, we want to run a report, and then we'll clean the data. So I want to run the report and add it to a campaign. So what I've got here is a standard Salesforce report.
Sorry, Jeff, sorry to interrupt. The campaign amount that you have put is a little incorrect. If you want to update that, you show everyone.
This was on my campaign, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll come back to that. What do I put? Shouldn't.
in billions or something.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yes.
Oh well, we're going to definitely stop world hunger with that, aren't we? Cool. So what I've got here uh, is I've got a report. Now this report here is just a report on accounts and contacts, and it's looking at a filter to see if there's any opportunities. So this would work with the nonprofit cloud as well. So for those people using nonprofit clouds, the campaigns and things like that would be slightly different, but I think most people here are still standard Salesforce nonprofit success pack. So what I've got here is I've got a report, and I've added a filter that sort of says, um, show me those people um, that have donated in the last 90, well, you can make it last, 5 years but not in the last few days. So that would probably be like, because this is a demo system, so that'd be probably last 3 years. And that would be, haven't donated in the last 30 days or something like that. Okay, so that's a filter. So it's a stock standard Salesforce report. All I do now is I go run. Now, the reason why I've also done this is, remember I was talking about phase one, phase two, phase three of this campaign or this PL. So the first one is direct mail, and I don't want my second phase, when I do my emails, to include people that have already given a donation through the direct mail. So that's why I'll put like a filter in there to sort of say, hey, I don't want those people that donated in, say, like the last 2 weeks or something like that. Or whatever. You can change that filter. Okay, so this is running a report on accounts and contacts with that filter. And now what I can do here is I can choose add to campaign. This is where I choose the campaign, so it's the direct mail one, and I go submit. Okay, now that is adding that. What I'm going to do here is go back to my campaign, and just to follow up from Vish's comment here, apparently I entered, oh, okay, yeah, okay, 125. I can actually do, um, okay, that's probably a bit better. So now I've just gone and adjusted my amounts instead of being 1.25 million. Cool. So what I can see here is I've got this campaign. So I just ran that report and added to the campaign. So if I on the campaign now, and I can see a um, a relationship to this, what we can see here is we have all of these people that are associated with that campaign. And I can see that I've got Mia Wilson also associated with that campaign. Okay, so this is the people that are associated with that campaign from that report. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Mia in another tab. And so that's clicked on the campaign member. Now I'm going to have a look at the contact. So this is stock standard contact inside Salesforce. What you'll notice here is for Mia, for the address, you'll see that there's no postcode on here. And what you'll see here is it's also got the word or the name Victoria instead of Vic. And we've got no delivery point ID and things like that. So if I go back to my campaign, right, so this is up at this level here, and I might just copy this for the next stage. So back onto my direct mail campaign, I've got all of those contacts related to it. What I can do now is I can use our mass address update. Now this is a payments to us option and not standard Salesforce. And you can see I can get like a list of those that, validation and emails. So what this has done is it's starting a background process, having a look at all those contacts on that campaign, and will clean up those addresses if they're not quite correct. So what I'm expecting, and hopefully it has finished running, it'll take a couple of minutes. I'll get an email once it's actually completed anyway. Now what you can see is it changed from Victoria to Vic, because that's the Australia Post standard. and it's located the postcode and put that postcode in there. Okay. If it wasn't able to fix the address because it was just too wrong, then it gives me a CSV file that has all of those addresses that are in exceptions, and then I can go through and manually update those if I need to. Okay, so just going back to this, we've run a report and we added all of those contacts to our direct mail campaign. Then what we've done is we've used the payments to us data validation tools with our mass address updates to go and clean those addresses on that campaign. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run another report here, and I'm going to save that report as a CSV file, or sorry, an Excel spreadsheet, and then I'm going to do a Microsoft Word mail merge. Okay, so when I go back to So when I go back into Salesforce, I'm going to go back to reports again. Okay, this time I've got another report, and this is just showing one entry here. What I'm going to do is edit this report. So this is standard Salesforce report writer. There's heaps of trail groups and things like that on report writing. But what I'm going to do here is change the campaign name, because we had it from last year's one to that direct mail one there. So that's the campaign name for just those contacts on my direct mail. And I'm going to go save and run. Ooh. And that's returns nothing. So that should be my campaign name here. Okay, that's active. Let me just go back and check to make sure I've got there. Okay, it's a live demo when we're doing things like this. I'm just going to do, it starts with just to see if we get that there, otherwise. Okay, cool. I've got a bit more now, so we've got a few contacts here now. So what you're noticing here is I've obviously got the person's name, first name, last name. We've got a supporter number. So remember Maya is supporter number 46, so that'll come in useful for later. So these are pulling out a field on our contact record. We call it membership number or supporter number. I've got a unique donate now URL associated with all these campaign members. Okay, and then I've got mobile and address details. So from here, what I can now do is I can go export. I'm going to do details only. I'm going to open this file, and it'll come up on your screen in a second. Okay, just drag that back onto here. So that's my Excel file. What I'm now going to do is just save that, because Salesforce saves it in a bit of a different format. So it's like an HTML format. I'm going to change that to Excel and put it into here, and I'm going to call it direct mail XLS, and I'll just overwrite the previous one. Okay, so that's got all my data out of Salesforce into a Excel spreadsheet. I can close this down. What I have Also in my folder here is I have a direct mail document. So this is a normal Microsoft Word document. So we'll open up Word. And it's come up when I've opened it up. So it's previously got a mail merge source in there. So I'm just going to relink this. And what I need to do is relink that to the Excel document that we just downloaded and go OK. Okay. Now what you can see in here is that this has mail merged in all of those details from that data, and we've got a unique QR code. When I have a look at mailings and I can turn off the preview, that will show you the data that we've, the merge fields that we've got. So we've got a QR code that is a unique donation link for this individual contact. So if this person clicks on this, scans that barcode, it will take them to their own personalized donation page. So all they have to do then is click into, enter their card details and go submit. Okay. So a couple of things. So if I just change that back to preview. So behind the scenes, you can go, edit barcode, and we've chosen the donate URL as our merge field, and we've chosen QR code as our type. Okay. What we also have on this form is we've got, a field here that's barcoded as well. Now with that barcode, what that is, if I go back to here, see how the font there is a barcode font? It says Libra barcode 39. So you can just do a search on Google for Libra barcode 39. So that's the type of barcode. And then you can download and install that font. So if I change this to, a different font, I can actually see the raw data and the raw text here. So it's got asterisk 46 asterisk. Remember I said Mia had a donor number of 46? Okay. Now the other thing that we can do here is when I come to the batch entry is this number can also have a dash and then the campaign code in it. So 46 dash, I think I called it end of year DM for direct mail, or end of year 24 DM for that. So if you have that there, it's going to have both the donor number and the campaign that this related to. So this is our wave one, remember? Cool. I'm just going to do an undo, and then that would revert it back to there. Cool. And as for normal mail merge side of things, obviously we can, scroll through the donors and you'll see those details change and the QR code change. Okay, so we can print these out, or you can go to a mail house and something like that. They can print it out and then pop it in the mail, give it to the donor. Okay, so what we've done here is I ran a report to extract those details. I saved it as a XLS file. I opened up my Microsoft Word file and mail merged it with those details. We noted the barcode on there, and the barcode is for when it comes back to us. We noted the QR code and how we can actually do a personalized URL for that individual donor so that they can donate quickly and simply coming back in. Now what we're going to do is go into our batch entry option. So inside Salesforce, and this is a payments to us option as well, we have batch entry. I can go here and I need to select a merchant facility payment form. So this is my overall batch. So I'm imagining that, you open up the mail each day, we get 100, items returned. Somebody would have said, this is the day we're going to bank it. I can put default campaigns on here. But this is, I'm expecting in this batch when I've grouped them and say batches of 25 that I've got, $5,400. So somebody's gone through and summarized them up and then given it to somebody else to do data entry. I'm just going to do $200 and 2 in here, okay? Cool. Now I come into entering the line items. Now, if I had a barcode in front of me and that direct mail printed out, I could just simply scan that. All the barcode scanners do is save you having to, it unscrambles it into plain text and actually keys it in. So it would have keyed in something like 46. Remember, I talked dash, and I just got to remember what my campaign code was now. And I had Y24DM. So that Y24DM, when I set up the campaign, the first step, I put that as my campaign code, right? There's a field that I actually entered that in. So when I do that, it locates that person. So I wouldn't have to key that in. It would have gone scan, it would have gone bleep, and it would have pre-filled that in and done the tab. Okay, so it would have brought all this information back here, would have linked it to the campaign, would have linked it to the contact. If somebody wrote on the form, hey, you got my email address wrong or some information, you can just override it here too. And here I can put in, say, 150 and, save and process. Okay, or I can locate the person directly and, this person here, and maybe they paid cash. Okay, once I've entered the entire batch, it shows me that, that progress bar has gone all the way across. I expected two, I got two, I expected $200, I got $200. I can now go process. That will process the batch, generate the receipts, charge the cards and things like that, and it's all done and dusted. So that's your quick and easy entry. Cool. So that's our batch entry. I'm next going to go into our email. So what we would do for that is we would run a report of eligible contacts and add to the campaign. We would then send an email to the donors, and you can use whatever tool you'd like. And then, of course, the donor is going to donate. So for that, let's go back here. And this time I'm going to run my report, and I might need to just start speeding up because I see we're starting to get through a bit of time. So this is my end of year donors. Remember, I had a filter on here that would pick up donors that haven't already given. So this is only going to pick up those there. I'm going to go add to campaign. So that's the first step. This time I'm going to choose my phase 2. And then that's going to add those contacts to that campaign. So if I go to my campaigns, and this was my email campaign, I can now see, whoops, it looks like it's, okay, what happened there? Direct. Okay, I've either done something wrong in my steps there, but I can't see any contacts linked to that campaign. Oh, okay, right now they've started to appear, right? It just took a couple of minutes for that report to actually add them to the campaign. Cool. So these are all of my contacts here. Now what I've got here is I should have. Okay, I've got this contact called Alan Wake. Okay, I just want to show you a couple of extra things that we've done for this contact. Okay, so so that's a campaign member, and I'm going to the contact record, which you already have. If I click on the contact record, there's a couple of extra features that we've enabled with payments to us. So one is we've set the create URL token on here against that contact. Okay. So what, and you can sort of see here, we've got the unique QR code for that person. We've got a unique donation URL for that person. And we've got we can see that we've got a link of the campaign code and the donor already linked into here. But when you do this, and there's a workflow that you can enable that will automatically do this for you, it will create a URL token that's linked to that person. That's where the unique donate now URL comes from, okay? Now, a couple of other things that you can do on here is you can also do things here like update the suggested donation amounts, right? So this would be using data loader or something similar. So you could personalize the ask amount for this individual donor as well using the URL tokens, okay? Again, that's probably a bit more of an advanced admin thing, but that's something that's certainly possible. Okay, so what I just wanted to show you here is for the contact Alan, we've got a unique URL associated with him. Cool. So if I go back to my campaign, so at my campaign level here, okay, what I'm going to do now here is on the campaigns is we have send email list. So this is standard Salesforce. I've got a email template. Come on. That's, I'm going blind. Um, yeah, Vish, can you see the email template thing? It's disappeared for me.
No, I
Ah,
can't see
thanks.
it.
God,
And
hey,
are
that's
we
my.
doing it for
I
phase
just
two,
saw
right?
that come
Not
in. Right,
direct
cool.
mail?
So what I've got here is my email template, and I've got one that I've already set up using classic email template. Cool. So when I go to preview, I can see it's mail merged in, Aaron's details, and I think I had, one I had before was Tim.
Sorry, Jeff. I think the members that you had is for
That
direct
was, oh, okay.
campaign, not for.
Uh, cool. Can I see Tim? Oh, let me go to say like Mia, right? So I can say, dear Mia, and it's got, mail merged and that side of things. But what you'll see here is I've mail merged in the donate now personalized URL. Okay. So if they click on that and open that, that's going to open our World Age site. And we've got some things that um, we've got set up here that's going to embed this form within our page, and see how it's brought through all of the name and address. I could actually hide that information if I wanted to. Remember I talked about the personalized, suggested donation amounts. That's something we can certainly do. But for me, all she has to do is click on that link and really just put in, the card details and then go, yeah, not a robot, and, donate now. So that keeps it really, really simple. Cool. So from here, what we've got here is we've done the send emails to donors. You can use either like Salesforce, it has some big restrictions on it, like the number that you can send, or you can use things like Marketing Cloud, MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, or there's probably 50 plus other different platforms that can send those out. And then of course you've got the the donor donating. Now, what you'd do is you'd use standard Salesforce reports and dashboards and things like that to, um, report on the success of your campaign. So you can have a look at, what's more successful, email or direct mail. Um, one of the ones, new donors versus old donors, donors this year's versus last year's. Um, how their campaign goes this year versus last year. I actually like there's a nice little formula field that you can add that can kind of show that day one after starting your campaign this year versus day one after you started your campaign last year, and you can kind of see those spikes in the response rates and things like that, how they're progressing, and that can give you an early indication on how well this is going this year versus last year. Okay, sorry we've taken up the time now, but we knew it was going to be struggling for half an hour today, so hopefully we've been able to share, how you can, get set up and ready for your end of year appeals. Some of those things you're using, data validation and the payments to us. Some of them using the personalized URLs of payments to us, using the direct mail and mail merging and contact codes, and then of course the quick data entry using batch entry as well. Okay. Vishal, is there anything? I've probably only got about a minute.
Yeah, there are two questions actually. First one is from Michelle. She has asked, like, is the mass address update an extra, or does it comes
The
with
mass
standard payments to
address
us?
update requires you to have a subscription with either Data Tools or Address Finder. So there is fees associated with that, and you just need to get a license option from us.
And every time we do the mass update, that that inbuilt charges on the address
Yes, yes,
data
yes.
tools,
Yeah.
right? And another question that was from Delu was, can you run the mass address update from the
No,
reports
the
tab?
mass address update is only from a campaign. Yeah.
Okay. This last one question from Ivana, where if you scan the barcode underneath the address, where does it take us? Is it to make the payment, make a payment page in Salesforce for the specific donor, or how is
So
it?
we used the QR code. We had that mail merged with the URL token, so personalized URL for that, and we used the barcode on there. So we had two sections on those forms, and the barcode section was purely for the the entry, quick entry coming back into Salesforce. So we had a barcode and we had a QR code. QR code, personalized URL for the donor to donate, barcode for us to rapidly and quickly enter those details when the donations came back. Cool. Okay, well, thank you all. Like I say, this will be this has been recorded, and we hope to have it available within the next couple of days. If there's nothing else, I might close off.
I think that's all the
Okay,
questions that we
have a good
have.
day, everyone. Thanks for your time. Hopefully, you found this interesting and useful. If you did,
Thanks,
please
everyone.
leave us a review on the App Exchange. Really appreciate it. Cheers.